These are 10 countries where Americans are not allowed in 2024. Are you an American traveler looking to explore the world? Think again. Get ready for a surprising journey as we explore places around the globe that are off-limits or extremely difficult for U.S. citizens to visit. From war-torn nations to isolated kingdoms, these places, especially the last one, will open your eyes. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more eye-opening travel content. Kicking off our list is Venezuela, a country that's as colorful as it is chaotic. With its stunning landscapes and vibrant culture, you'd think it would be a traveler's paradise. But thanks to political tensions and economic turmoil, this South American gem has become a no-go zone for Americans. The U.S. government has slapped a big fat "do not travel" warning on Venezuela, citing crime, civil unrest, and the risk of arbitrary arrest. For the adventurous few who make it, Venezuela offers stunning natural beauty, from the world's highest waterfall, Angel Falls, to the pristine beaches of Los Roques Archipelago. However, the risks may outweigh the rewards for most travelers. Next up, we've got Libya, a country that's been through more drama than a telenovela. Since the fall of Gaddafi in 2011, this North African nation has been plagued by conflict, terrorism, and instability. The U.S. State Department has issued a Level 4 Do Not Travel advisory for Libya, the highest level of caution, citing crime, terrorism, civil unrest, kidnapping, and armed conflict. In 2012, the U.S. ambassador and 3 other Americans were tragically killed in an attack on the U.S. consulate in Benghazi, further straining relations. For Americans, getting a visa to Libya is a complicated process. Visas must be obtained in advance, and the application requires an invitation letter from a Libyan sponsor, which can be difficult to secure. Even with a visa, travel is restricted to certain areas, and visitors must register with authorities upon arrival. Coming in at number 8 is Syria, a country that's been through hell and back. After years of brutal civil war, this once vibrant nation has been reduced to rubble, with millions of people displaced and countless lives lost. After years of brutal civil war, this once vibrant nation has been reduced to rubble, with millions of people displaced and countless lives lost. The U.S. State Department has issued a stark "do not travel" warning for Syria, citing terrorism, civil unrest, kidnapping, and armed conflict. The U.S. Embassy in Damascus suspended operations in 2012, and diplomatic relations between the two countries are severely strained. Syria is home to some of the world's most ancient and significant historical sites, such as the ruins of Palmyra, the ancient city of Aleppo, and the Crusader castle Crac de Chevalet. Tragically, many of these sites have been damaged or destroyed in the conflict. At lucky number 7, we've got Turkmenistan, a country that's as quirky as it is secretive. This former Soviet republic is known for its eccentric leaders, grandiose monuments, and bizarre laws, like banning black cars and lip-syncing. But beneath the surface lies a repressive regime that keeps a tight grip on its citizens and visitors alike. For Americans, getting a visa to Turkmenistan is like trying to solve a calculus problem while juggling flaming chainsaws. It's complicated, dangerous, and not recommended. Even if you do get in, you'll be under constant surveillance, with every move monitored by the watchful eye of the government. Landing at number 6 is Saudi Arabia, the birthplace of Islam and home to its holiest sites, Mecca and Medina. This oil-rich kingdom has long been a challenging destination for American travelers, with strict entry requirements and conservative social norms. In 2019, Saudi Arabia introduced tourist visas for the first time, allowing U.S. citizens to visit for leisure. However, visas are expensive, and female travelers face additional scrutiny. Women under 25 must be accompanied by a family member, and all visitors must adhere to a strict dress code. The U.S. State Department advises increased caution when traveling to Saudi Arabia due to the threat of missile and drone attacks, as well as arbitrary enforcement of local laws. The country has a poor human rights record with restrictions on freedom of expression, assembly, and religion. Halfway through our list at number 5 is Eritrea, a small nation in the Horn of Africa that has been called the North Korea of Africa for its secrecy and isolation. This former Italian colony gained independence from Ethiopia in 1993 after a long and brutal war. The U.S. State Department advises against all travel to Eritrea due to the risk of arbitrary arrest and detention, as well as the lack of diplomatic presence. The government is authoritarian and has been accused of widespread human rights abuses, including forced labor, torture, and restriction on freedom of movement and expression. Getting a visa to Eritrea is a challenging and uncertain process for Americans. Visas must be obtained in advance from an Eritrean embassy or consulate, and the application requires a letter of invitation from an Eritrean sponsor. Even with a visa, travel is restricted, and visitors must obtain permits to leave the capital Asmara. Eritrea's capital, Asmara, is a UNESCO World Heritage Site, renowned for its stunning art and Deco architecture from the Italian colonial period. The Red Sea coast offers pristine beaches and excellent diving, while the ancient ruins of Kohaito and Adulis hint at the country's rich history. At number 4, we have Cuba, the largest island in the Caribbean and a mere 90 miles from Florida. Despite its proximity, Cuba has been off-limits to most American travelers for over half a century due to a complex history of Cold War tensions, embargoes, and sanctions. In 2014, the Obama administration took steps to normalize relations with Cuba, easing travel restrictions and allowing more Americans to visit under certain categories such as educational, religious, or humanitarian purposes. However, in 2019, the Trump administration reversed many of these changes, banning cruise ships and people-to-people educational travel. Currently, Americans can still visit Cuba under 12 authorized categories, but they must navigate a complex web of regulations and paperwork. Visitors must have a full-time schedule of activities that support the Cuban people and promote civil society, such as staying in private homes, eating at private restaurants, and interacting with locals. Nestled in the eastern Himalayas at number 3 is Bhutan, a tiny Buddhist kingdom that has prioritized happiness over economic growth. This land of the thunder dragon has a unique approach to tourism, focusing on low volume, high value, and sustainability. Unlike other countries on this list, Bhutan's restrictions on American visitors are not due to political tensions or security concerns, but rather a deliberate policy to preserve its culture and environment. All visitors, regardless of nationality, must book their trip through a licensed Bhutanese tour operator and pay a daily fee of $250, which includes accommodation, meals, transportation, and a guide. The U.S. State Department has no specific warnings or advisories for Bhutan, but notes that medical facilities are limited and evacuation can be difficult due to the mountainous terrain and lack of airports. Bhutan offers a rare glimpse into a traditional way of life, with stunning monasteries, fortresses, and temples set against a backdrop of towering peaks and pristine forests. Coming in at number 2 is Iran, a country with a rich history and culture that has been at odds with the United States since the 1979 Islamic Revolution. The two nations have had no diplomatic relations since 1980, and tensions have escalated in recent years over Iran's nuclear program and regional influence. The U.S. State Department has issued a Level 4 Do Not Travel advisory for Iran, citing the risk of arbitrary arrest and detention, as well as the threat of kidnapping and violence. The U.S. government has limited ability to provide emergency services to U.S. citizens in Iran. For Americans, getting a visa to Iran is a lengthy and uncertain process. Visas must be obtained in advance from an Iranian embassy or consulate, and the application requires an invitation letter from an approved Iranian tour operator. U.S. citizens must be accompanied by a guide and have a pre-planned itinerary. Despite the challenges, Iran offers a wealth of ancient and Islamic history, from the ruins of Persepolis to the stunning mosques and palaces of Isfahan. And finally, topping our list at number 1 is North Korea, the world's most secretive and isolated nation. This totalitarian state has been ruled by the Kim family dynasty since its founding in 1948 and has a long history of hostility towards the United States. The U.S. State Department has issued a stern warning against all travel to North Korea, citing the serious risk of arrest and long-term detention of U.S. citizens. In 2017, the tragic death of U.S. student Otto Warmbier after his release from North Korean custody underscored the extreme dangers of visiting. Getting a visa to North Korea is practically impossible. In 2017, the U.S. government banned the use of U.S. passports to enter North Korea, with limited exceptions for journalists, humanitarian workers, and officials. Even before the ban, visas were only granted through approved tour operators and required special validation from the State Department. North Korea's capital, Pyongyang, offers a surreal glimpse into a parallel universe, with grandiose monuments, mass performances, and a pervasive cult of personality around its leaders. Visitors are closely monitored and have little opportunity to interact with locals or see behind the carefully curated facade. And there you have it, the 10 countries where Americans are not allowed or face extreme difficulties visiting in 2024. From war-torn nations to isolationist regimes, these destinations present unique challenges and risks for U.S. travelers. But remember, travel is about breaking down barriers and fostering understanding between people, even in the most challenging circumstances. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more thought-provoking travel content. Until next time, keep exploring. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more mind-bending travel content.